So this is the machine. In reference to your question about the battery and resetting of hours, ironically, I can tell you that the battery is starting to fail in the machine. And by that I mean, if I leave this machine off for 2 weeks and turn it on, the date will need to be reset. I'll have to reset the date and time. And once I do that, it comes up. I can verify, validate, demonstrate. It does not reset the hours when that happens. Right here is the hour screen. You can see that it has 2,950 power on time. And 154 hours of cycle start times, and feed cutting time is 94 hours. And yesterday when I started the machine up, it had been a week or two since it had been started. I had to reset the date and time yesterday. And you can find a couple of references in the log where it reset the time, about some options, but nothing. I've never lost a single setting in this. And for the past month or so, that's been a regular occurrence to have to set the date and time if the machine has been off a week or two. If it's been on 3 or 4 days, 5 days, it comes up just fine. The machine as it sets, here it is. Devices, as we discussed, will not go with it. We will take the tools out of the tool holders, but I got no further use for the Cat 40 tools, so the tool holders can go with it. The HR210, we've never used it ever for anything other than we use it as a steady rest right here. So I'm going to tell you right now, I can account for every machine that's ever been made on this, every part that's been made on this machine. This is a hammerhead that we make. That's the main part that we make on this machine. Starts out as a hot roll 4x4. We skim it off about 50 thousandths each side and take this down to 3.9, 3.9. We mill this pocket in right here. We do that full depth. We cut it, mill that in. That is done with this milling cutter. And then we drill a hole through with a 3/4 indexable drill through here, these 2 holes right here. And then when we're done with that, when we've done all 4 sides of pocketing and that drilling, we stand it up, and this is my jig. We clamp it in against this to hold it. And what we're gonna do when we get done with that, we drill these 4 holes, and we drill these 2 holes. We flip it over. So that's the purpose of that angle iron that's bolted on there. And that is the only lowly function that this HR210 has ever supplied. The other parts that we make on it is this starts off life as a 6x6 square, 1/2 inch thick hot roll plate. We mill this center hole and we drill these 5 holes. We do not cut this radius on the mill. That's done on a bandsaw and then cleaned up with a sander. And then this is a 4x4 1/2 inch mild steel plate, and we drill these 2 holes. We have probably drilled several hundred of these plates right here. That's the only parts that have ever been made on this machine. Now then, I'm going to tell you about the only problem that I have ever had with this machine. In 2022, I can show you the date, time, when it happened. The shaft, the output shaft on this motor broke. And that is the chip auger motor. And over here is the broken part. And I've talked with Haas and different operators, and they had a problem with this motor back then. And this, you can see the grain structure in that. It wasn't heat treated properly. It was brittle and it broke. And Haas changed that for future ones. And we don't use the chip auger much. I put it in this bag, and it has sat in that bag since 2022. When we started talking about selling the machine, I decided that the proper thing to do would be to get this fixed up. Now this thing is made by SPG, and Haas's price for this is just a little bit over $1,000 for this new. This cable just simply goes and plugs in. It's an easy unplug, plug. There's a couple bolts that bolts it on inside there. And they do not sell any internal parts for this. So even though it's a simple part that's broke, you have to buy the whole thing. And so here we are back in the machine, and it's set up on jog right now, and I'm not a very good videographer, especially one-handed, but I am spinning the A-axis here, right, just with the jog handle. Works nice and smooth. Like I said, that's never been used other than I played with it just like I am now a few times. All right, so I'll select the X-axis, and you can see it moving back and forth. There we go. That was the full extent that way. I'll take it to the full extent. This way I'm just busily jogging it with my hand. And I'm going to change it to the Y-axis. Right? Here we go to the back. Here we go back to the front. Now then let me select the Z-axis. I think yeah, there we go. So Z-axis, up and down. I'm not going to go to the lowest extent because, well, where I've got the thing setting here. There we are. Up here's the air blast and the P-Cool stuff that kicks down. You know, this machine has worked awesome for us. We've never had a stuck tool. We've never had any problem with this. You know, the Renaissance probe, we've had to change the batteries regularly in this. Like I said, the batteries are due to be changed in here. If you boot it up every few days, it's still holding on good. But if you let it set for a week or two, it's going to reset the date and time. And again, here is this. It's been a great machine for us. We purchased it brand new, rigged it in here. We have never hired out for a single job. So that's it. Let me give you, I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go back to the Y-axis. I'm going to move this to the back. And I'm going to give you a good view down in here. The chip auger. That motor bolts right onto the back of there with 4 bolts. And that shaft that broke goes into that collar there. I've got a piece of rubber bolted over that. And that we don't use the chip auger very much, so we haven't missed it. There you are. It's a good machine. And now I'm going to show you the spindle running. So we're going to come up here. Now I'm going to start this off at 5,000 and spindle forward. Here we go. It won't let me open the side door, or the front door. Now I'll open this window here. It should have sound. Smooth as butter. It's just running along there. Do a stop. And let's give it an 8,000. And spindle forward. Yeah. Alright, so I tried that at 8,000 evidently. 79.99 is the fastest that it's going. Running just as smooth as it can be. Here we are with the window open. That's the spindle running at full speed. We'll stop the spindle and we'll run it in reverse. There. Not sure how much more you would want from that, but again, this machine been very lightly used, been only used by me and my son, mostly my son.